Hello everyone, I'm Havoc and this is Factorio Space Exploration. Before we get into the video, I'd like to go ahead and let everyone know that in the description below this video, there will be a link to my Discord and to my Twitch channel. Come join us in Discord, we really would love to have you there. I'll be putting information about videos out early as well as notifications for when I'm going to be going live streaming, so you guys can check that out down below, and let's get right into the video. Welcome back to Factorio Space Exploration. Now, some things have changed, and I need to run over here to the beginning of our lovely, wonderful belt base to show some of these things off. First of all, I have updated to 1.1.38 version of Factorio, which means I get all of the wonderful benefits. Of course, it's going to auto-save right now. Oh, goodness. So, I get all of the wonderful benefits of the up-to-date version, such as if I'm going and my mouse comes off, it just keeps placing along there unless I turn, does the undergrounds for me. All of the most wonderful things about the latest updates I have. Now, let's talk about some of the not-so-wonderful things that came about because of my updating. If you look over here at the number of ion cannons I have in orbit, 83 is a little shy of what I had before. If you remember, I had 170 something, like 176 maybe, 172, something along those lines in orbit. The orbital ion cannon mod is not up to date as of the time of my recording this with the current version. However, Orbital Ion Cannon SE for space exploration is. And when I reinstalled or removed the other mod and put this one in, it got rid of all of the ion cannons I had in space. So I've had to start relaunching new ones with the new recipes into space in order to make sure that everything is good. Another thing that I learned is that the recipes changed a little bit. Beforehand, these small electric motors were taking the single cylinder engines and then just adding copper wire onto them in order to make them, and the recipe changed, and now it uses the same components with this copper wire in order to make it. So I had to go through, find a few changes. There were a couple other recipe changes, issues that I had to adjust throughout the rest of the factory. Another one's going to be the engines that are made. Hold on, let me get in the air so I quit running into things. Where are my engines made again? Somewhere further out here? Yes, right here. These, which are now called big electric motors, their recipe changed a little bit. I needed to add steel in to get that flowing again. Oh yes, RoboPort Mark 3s. So the RoboPort mod that I was using did not update, but there was another one that was nearly identical, and I am very thankful because I removed the one that was outdated, added the new one in, and when I loaded in, it converted all of my RoboPort Mark 3s to the RoboPort Mark 3 of the new mod. Thank goodness. It did completely wipe the power from all of them, and I probably, let's say 15-20 minutes I had to wait for the power to charge in the mini RoboPorts. Let's see, how many do I have? 1.8 thousand RoboPorts. Yeah, with all of those at max drain, I could not produce enough power, even with my nuclear facility running full blast, all of my solar panels running full blast. It took a while, but I did get them charged up. Let's see, there was something else. There was one other mod that I was not able to get updated. I can't remember now because I've messed around and I played the Industrial Revolution with a viewer on Sunday, and now I've changed mods around back to this one. But it was a bit of an issue. It's a bit of an issue, and then I had to go through it, and there might still be recipes that I haven't found yet that aren't moving because production lines aren't moving. But if I run into an issue where I see something isn't flowing, I'll know to go check there to see what's wrong. But those are some of the issues that I ran into. Let's talk about the map. When it took me a second to realize I had no ion cannons, the biters began to expand in while I was getting things set up to get ion cannons back into space. I have 83 now, and I've stopped it there because you'll notice number of ion cannons ready to fire is 74 out of 83. That rarely goes down below, I don't know, half of what I have. I rarely see it below 40 right now, and I probably need to launch a few more because as I expand, that also means there are more biter nests inside the range. So think of it as a circle. A small circle has a small outer diameter, whereas a large circle has more of a surface, which means I'll need more ion cannons as I expand out. And you'll notice I have added a whole lot of these little setups, just a few solar panels, just a few accumulators, and a few radars, every so often just kind of splotched out in order to keep things under control. Now, the beauty of the SE cannons, Orbital Ion Cannon SE mod, is that it only works per surface. So beforehand, I had 170 something ion cannons that would fire on any surface, so any planet, and that doesn't really make any sense. I have them orbiting Novice. Why should they be able to fire on Forge Hammer or another surface? They really shouldn't be able to fire on another surface, and now they don't with the SE or Space Exploration version of the mod, which is wonderful. And if I want orbital ion cannons over another surface, all I've got to do is bring some with me and launch them into space there. Another thing that I have worked on while I was waiting on orbital ion cannons to get launched and roboports to charge is our little blueprint down here for our defensive wall. So I've made quite a few changes. I'm going to attempt to remember them and go over each of them with you just real fast. Beforehand, I had a belt running through right along here, and it went underground. And what that meant is that my pipes had to be at this layer, and that meant that also my flamethrower turrets had to be up one layer or pushed back one grid area. By removing the belt here, I have allowed myself to push the flamethrower turrets just that one more set of grid spaces closer to the actual wall, which means my flamethrower turrets now fire past my conveyor belt down here that you see. So if I hover over it, they actually shoot just past it, which is the furthest thing that I have yet. So what that means is that my flamethrower turrets are going to start shooting fire before anything else can even unload on any enemies coming at the wall. And to be honest with you, the flamethrower turret is what's going to do the absolute most damage to the bugs. That ticking burn damage when it lights the ground on fire is the single most deadly thing to them, as they get resistances to the gunshots and lasers. And they do get a little bit of resistance to fire, but there's only so fire resistant the bugs can get, and it just melts them away. And I have made sure that I now have them very close, very closely placed. There's only one iteration of laser turrets in between them, whereas before in our wall design down here, I have a lot of space in between the flamethrower turrets. So if you look down here, there's a section right along in this area where the flamethrower turrets cannot shoot to their maximum, a little wedge where biters can come in, and they won't start getting shot at fire until roughly here because of how far out they are. Right there's the dead center of where they will meet in between these. By having the flamethrower turrets closer together, I no longer have that big gap. So if we look down here, I don't think there's any gap at all. It's roughly right in here, just maybe half a grid back instead of multiple grids back. So that means that my flamethrower coverage is significantly better. And I achieved that by putting these requester chests in here, just holding 50 uranium rounds. I may take that down a little bit, or maybe I'll leave it at 50, I don't know. I'm producing uranium rounds very, very quickly. And they are just passing through to my gun turrets. I have the doubled up row, and then I have the triple row of laser turrets where I don't have flamethrower turrets. Doubles where there aren't. This is an insanely deadly wall setup. I don't think I've ever built anything this I don't know. Deadly, I guess, is the best word to put it. It's a very, very maybe over the top setup, but the bugs just keep evolving. I think there may be a maximum. I'm not sure. To be honest with you, this is the longest I've ever played one map, so I don't know. In the background, past all of my defensive measures, I have put power and roboports. And obviously the roboports are what's going to repair things and keep bots housed as they're replacing walls and any damage that needs to be replaced and repaired with repair packs. And then I have put in here enough solar panels. So if I do like this, there are 50 solar panels in here. 50 of the current version that I can make, the Mark V. And these produce 5.9 megawatts at their maximum. And if you do 5.9 times 50, let me pull up the calculator just real fast. 5.9 times 50, you get 295 megawatts. Now, each of these laser turrets use 3.26 max consumption, and there are, what, 83 of them? So let's bring our calculator back up and say 83 times, what was it? Laser turrets, 3.26. You get 270.58 megawatts. So if every single laser turret in this area is firing at maximum, it will just barely use more power than what my solar panels can generate. Now, if every single laser turret is firing at one time, I have a very serious problem, and it's not my power supply. It is the number of biters that would have to be here hitting the wall all in one area. That's not going to happen. And since that's not going to happen, I know that I have enough power, and I did this on purpose. I want each wall section to be independently powered on its own. So if I were to take this and just drop it, the moment that I build this blueprint, I don't have to worry about needing to backlog power or use power from the main base or anything crazy. It'll just slap down and have the power it needs, as long as it's not nighttime, that is, and it will be able to defend itself. Now, the gun turrets obviously won't need the power, but to get the ammunition into them, the inserters need the power, so you need a little bit of power. So I'm hoping that I can just place this down and it'll be stamp and go. The robots build it, there's power, it can defend itself. That way I can travel out. Because what I'm seeing here is this took, I don't know, 2 hours. Well, I didn't do anything over here. Starting from the top, I went around and expanded it all the way down to this little corner. All the way out, dropping these extra ones. I did make a rocket launcher and carry some atomic bombs, some nukes with me while I'm going out, because sometimes I have to clear a nest. See if I can find a good example. If it is inside of these worms that are inside of the range, the ion cannons will not target them. That's just wonderful to see them in action. So you have to destroy stuff like that that is inside of the radar range. It will only target things. See, here's another one. There's a nest and some worms. It will only target things that it scans and finds and then blast them. Right here's a good example. There's quite a few right there, and it will never fire on them because it's within the range. It's not when it does the sweep. And there's another issue. I am fairly certain this is a bug. I don't know 100% sure, but it doesn't make any sense that it would be a feature. Part of the Orbital Ion Cannon SE mod is that when I pick up the ion cannon targeting device, you see it says Orbital Ion Cannon SE Edition. So if I pick this up and put it in my inventory, it disappears. So while I'm holding it, it recognizes that I have it. And let's see. Cannot reach. That's another issue. Not sure why that's a problem. Don't really know. I think, and here we go again, if I just put it in my inventory, it gets deleted. Now, they're not that expensive, but, I mean, I don't understand why that's happening. Must be a bug. Just a little something that I noticed. Let's see, something else to remember. I think I covered that pretty well. Oh, I did change this to include 3 tankers here. That way, the pressure tank will fill up faster. Because this thing holds an insane amount. I think it's 350,000. Each of these is going to hold 25,000. So it will take multiple rounds of this train fully emptying itself in order to fill this tank up. And that's what I want. I want this tank to be filled to the maximum, because I'm not going to have these very often. They are going to be, I don't know, probably every 8 or 9 sections. So I will come out quite a few more this way, and another depot would be somewhere way over here would be another depot. And for the in-between sections, it's just going to be this without the little pipe that goes back. That's the only difference that I'm going to have for the non-depot. It won't have all of this stuff. I may need to include the rail with it, or maybe not. I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. Let's see. Trying to think here about any other changes that had to be made. I don't think there were really any other ones. Oh, I recently put the blueprint for my core mining drill setup, the core mining drills, and the processing setup on Facotorio prints. I will try and remember to put the link to that in the description for this. I did comment back on one of my videos. Someone asked if I could upload that blueprint, and I now have done that, and I will try and put it in the description for this one. And maybe if I get some more questions about it, I can divert people there. I think that was it. I think we're caught back up now. So let's talk about moving forward, what a few of the plans are. Orbital ion cannons firing. I love it. Boom. Good to see. So my pollution is constantly growing, even in the areas where I have blasted them back. And I think at this point, I really want to try and section off a large portion of the planet more aggressively. Obviously, I'm going to do that off camera, but that is one of the plans. And while we're talking about plans, I'm looking at maybe walling off here to here, walling off here to here, and getting all the way to one edge of the planet and having ion cannons, all down through here to just blast everything. And if I can clear it out, I want to try and do, I don't know, from there across and then maybe from here down and get, I would call that maybe more than a third, or maybe roughly a third of the planet completely cleared of biters, and then expand in those directions with buildings and just leave a very robust wall on the other areas. And if I can't, do an entire section of the planet, I just want to make my space bigger so I have less annoyances and a more robust wall, which means I wouldn't be so worried about it getting hit all the time. That's crazy. What are the arrows? Oh, that's a new feature. Interesting. I'm still learning some of the features for this version. And I want to get that taken care of, and that's going to be an ongoing project, and I want to get my blueprint tested. So I did make that blueprint for the processing of resources that come from core mining. So I have the blueprint made for my core mining and processing up here. The only thing that I'm going to have to figure out is there's going to have to be an extra step between here and here where I'll have to move these and process on other surfaces. I'm going to get the different types of core mining samples. So I will need to have that. Oh, and they changed the graphics for this. I just noticed. Looks a little different. You know, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I should also make sure. Okay. Yes, so it still works where you get that specific kind, and it gives you the regular fragments after giving you some of the resources that it contains. So I want to work on a rocket payload that will deliver what I need to start building these structures. These are in passive provider chests, which means my bots have access to them. They just have to fly an insane distance to go get those. That's okay. We'll let that fly for right now. I will eventually want that to be trained closer, but for now that's okay. We have quite a few rockets sitting available, and I want to get one of these set up with maybe a requester loading instead of a train loading. We don't have any rocket fuel. I need to pass that along to here, which won't be that difficult. How does this one have fuel? Is it passing between the rockets? Because I just noticed there's no pump with fuel going into this, and yet it's fueled. Interesting. Let me test that theory just real fast. Sure enough. Okay. You can just pipe it out of the side of one of these, so you don't need every one of these pumps. I don't know, maybe that loads it faster, so we will leave it in the design and do it that way. Okay. It's been a little bit, and I'm all discombobulated from the update. I don't think I had a cargo rocket loading with all of the different things. This is loaded to the brim with copper. That's a remnant of our very first rockets going into space. I'm just trying to eyeball around here and make sure I didn't already have something set up for that. I got a lot of things around here. I need to do some cleaning house. Little house cleaning. And this has stuff in it as well. Alright. I don't see anything in particular. So now we can come up with something. And what I might want to do, I don't have a rocket silo, so let's get a cargo rocket silo. Set on this page. Here we go. Bring me one of those, please, my wonderful and beloved robots. I'm thinking about dropping it right in along here somewhere, because this is not going to be one that's automated. This will be one which I manually summon to planets, since it's going to be an initial build. I need X amount of these in order to build something on a planet. And how are we going to do this exactly? I know there are ways to smart load the rockets that I have seen in the past, but I have not paid enough attention to really know what's going on here. You need 1,000 blue belts. So what I'm thinking is we grab each of these and then we simply monitor what's inside the cargo rocket silo, or the rocket because I can read the contents of it, and if I reach the number of desired amount in there, I simply disable, say, a mini loader, express mini loader that will be loading it. Let's go ahead and see. I'm going to need that. Then I'm going to need a good bit of logic going on here because I don't want it to load. I want it to be like these. I don't want it to load until it realizes it has a cargo rocket, and I don't want it to load once it reaches the correct amount. That means I should probably not set things to be here just yet. And I will need power around here. Hello? Oh. That was weirding me out. It was trying to put entirely too many space capsules into here. And I was trying to figure out why they were immediately... I thought it was another bug. That's just to let you all know what was going through my mind. Because of the issues that I've been having, I immediately expect the worst. I've had a lot of issues. Alright. Now these should all be feeding into... There we go. Let's try that again. Now that my small heart attack is done and over with. Okay, good. That logic is holding. Holy smokes. Alright, so let's take a look at this. This is going to get built just like I need it to, and then what I need is to know what's in here and if it meets the right amount before I can enable this. Enable, disable, let's see. We're going to need to do something on the lines of a condition being met for each of these. I don't know enough about circuits to figure this out. I'm thinking here. I'm going to need to do a little bit of research on this about how this can be done exactly, because I will just fumble around and end up with something that doesn't work, to be honest with you. And I don't want to do that and waste time, so I will figure something out in the meantime. Let's see. Yeah, I shouldn't really bring the resources over here until I have a good way to load it filtered. For now, I'm going to leave it like this, and that's actually probably going to be the end of this video. It's starting to get a little long. I have hopefully got y'all caught back up on this stuff that's going on with everything updated. I look forward to making some good progress now that I've finally worked my way back through and have the transition to the mods finished and everything running. I think I'm going to leave it at 83 ion cannons, like I said, for now, and focus on getting what I need to get back on other planets, and maybe off camera I will clear out some more biters. I do want to do the expansion of the wall on camera with y'all. That might be an episode here coming soon. If you enjoyed it, thank you very much. That's going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to hit that like button. I really do appreciate it. If you had any comments, go down there and leave it for me to read. I do appreciate that as well. As I said at the beginning of the video, there are links to the Discord and my Twitch channel. So come join us in Discord. Really do want you there. I'll be, again, putting information out early about videos and streaming times. And I will see you all next time.